Becky Smith, IBO here in Indianapolis. It is the morning of the first day of the conference, and we are in the conference hall, and some great conversation and presentations will be happening here shortly. Becky, for those who may be watching who may not be familiar with the IBO, give them a recap. Who is the IBO? Who do they serve? And what's the purpose?
Sure. So the background of the IBO is we've been around for 20 years. So 20 years ago, it was a couple guys who got together and thought, like, how do we compete against the big guys, right? And the big guys we all know, Clear Channel, Outfront, Lamar. So they decided, why are we all creating the same wheel? What if we network and share ideas? So again, this goes back 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, it was a country club model. There were, I coined a term yesterday. I thought of a term yesterday after our interview that's, let me think, co-opetition. And that's what Chris uses. So what we are is we're competitors, but we all have this common goal and this common interest. And so we cooperate together. And we even work as a co-op, meaning we all bring what we have to the table and bring it to market as a whole. So the IBO is a resource for any independent operator. The guy or gal with their very first structure, they belong here. They can learn from the people who've been doing it forever, but also the companies like Yesco that have been around 100 years with thousands of faces, they belong here too. Every one of them can come here and learn something, but they all have something that they can give back to the group. So we are a networking group.
Yeah.
However, we have close to 300 companies. We talked yesterday.
296, I think.
296, right. And 100,000 faces collectively.
Wow.
Now, when we talk about IBO, the B stands for billboards, but we are anything out of home. So it doesn't just have to be billboards. We've got people in our group that have street furniture, right? Those things, we've got a lot more of the place-based as well, or the mobile LED truck billboards. They belong in our group. So anyway, close to 300 companies, 100,000 billboard faces, and that has given us a little bit of clout in the industry.
Absolutely.
Notice.
Absolutely.
Right? So at this conference, we're going to reveal that we're going to stop saying the big three, because that doesn't shine a light on who we are. There's four. There's not three. So there's Clear Channel, there's Outfront, there's Lamar, and there are the independents. Our footprint is second only to Lamar, and we need to act like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm encouraged to hear you say that. And when you can have a footprint all over the country, and I know you have some international members as well, there's distinct advantages to being a part of this group. And so talk to me about the independent operators. You mentioned earlier the gal or the guy with one sign.
Yeah.
Right? What are some questions that they come through the door with for the IBO, and what kind of resources can IBO provide for those? I would maybe use the word green, new.
Very green, right. Well, one of the great things that we have the advantage of is we've got very good relationships with our vendors. So our non-media owners, like Signbird, right? And what they do is whenever they have a brand new person to the industry, they will direct them to us. And we keep a collateral of information for them that is brought to us by our members. I've asked them, hey, give me resources that I can point them, because I don't know what they want and need. More than anything, we welcome them in. We try to answer the questions that they have, but we also redirect them to people that we know can help them. People that maybe have a similar market somewhere else, right? But I think people join us for all different reasons, but more than anything, maybe just as a resource. Last year, we put out a webinar called The Acronyms of Out of Home.
Right, yeah.
And the thing about that is, it's not just the new guys that don't know like SSP and DSP and what's Open Exchange and what's PMP and what's CPM, right? It's not just the new guys that don't know this.
Yeah.
People who've been in the business for years don't know it.
Yeah.
Technology is throwing around and we don't know what we don't know. It's our job to start vetting some of those things and letting our members know the resources that we have found that have worked.
Out of home, I found to have its own vocabulary, its own definitions of words, and depending on, the decade you entered the business, you typically lean towards one word, right? And so we've had people and folks, even at Signbird and some of our employees at our office who are new to the business, more on the creative side, editing photos and videos. I said, yeah, see, weekly impressions, right? CPM, they're like, what are you talking about? And there's an opportunity to just kind of educate, and the more we can, and the more we can educate those around us on the out-of-home business and the vocabulary we use, but also create standards, right? And so I'd like to talk to IBO a little bit. I'd like to talk to you about creating standards and the benefit of having standardization in the out-of-home industry. The acronyms, webinar, gold. Awesome. Right. So just to kind of turn the corner here for standardizing out-of-home, you talk about the big four. Do all four play by the same rules on how we define the value of our structures?
I don't know that we all do. I know that OAAA helps this, right? And if you ever get on their website, they even have like a dictionary. Have you been on there to look at that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and that's helpful. But the best thing about our group is we're independents. The worst thing about our group is we're independent, right? And we can do what we want. So I don't think that there are standards across the board, not in our vocabulary and not in how we sell. We don't have that. And I think that is a big hurdle when it comes to buyers who get to place money and choose where the money goes. We have to do better so that out-of-home is seen as valuable as it is.
That's right.
We were talking yesterday, we discussed the fact that we look at the ad spend here in the United States, out-of-home gets 3 to 4% of the budget. And we have to do better. To do better, we have to standardize things. We also have to find a measurement that we can audit, that we know is working.
That's right.
But in order to have that, you have to have the basic standards. Like, what's the rubric of how we grade this?
Yeah.
We know out-of-home works, but we have to have these metrics to show these buyers how it works.
I found, at least in my sales conversations, especially when I was selling out-of-home, to create trust and transparency with advertisers was 98% of the battle. They just wanted to know that it was going to work, and how did we value it?
Sure.
Right? How did you come to understand that this board had, 10,000 weekly impressions, right? And to confidently explain to them the definition of how we got there and what the results are going to be for that campaign. It's not rocket science, but it's something that I think the out-of-home industry needs to champion and be better at. And we've already seen improvements on that. And IBO is a big part of that.
Yeah, we are. So 5 years ago, we were introduced to the Media Rating Council, which audits measurement for other forms of advertising, whether that's digital online or television, radio, those kind of things. And out-of-home just simply did not have a standard. So IBOUSA decided to join the Media Rating Council and to have a seat at the table. So what we do, and I'm part of this with Chris, is we spend hours and hours each month listening to audits go on.
Yeah.
Because we know that at some point out-of-home gets in there. We're hearing that's any day now. But that fight is not just being fought by the big three. Like I said, Chris, our chief vision officer, is not only in there, but he is the out-of-home chairman on the Media Rating Council.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
So let's talk about the next IBO, because this interview is going to come out maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months from now. We don't know. Whenever it does get released, I want to talk about and give folks the opportunity to join us at the next IBO conference.
Sure.
Where is that conference?
Yep. So our next conference is in Louisville, Kentucky. And I think you have to say it Louisville, right?
Louisville. Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky. It is the first week of April. We had some date changes. April's going to be a busy month. So we have IBO the first week of April, and then we'll have OAAA the last week of April. We share members, we share vendors. So it's just going to be a very exciting and fun month for the out-of-home industry. If folks want to be involved with IBO, let's talk really quickly about how to become a member, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
If you are a media owner with even one structure, you can become a member. There is no longer a vetting process, because in the beginning, the vetting process was a black ball, those kind of things, very country club-ish.
Country club, yeah.
Yeah. The answer is we want to be there for all the independents. So anyone who's an independent, remember, so that's not publicly traded. They're doing this on their own. We want you to join us. You can reach out to Becky at IBOUSA.org. I know John can give you my contact information, but we'd love to have, it doesn't matter the size.
Well, that's great to hear, and encouraging that the IBO is being all things to all people, right? There's no wall anymore. Come join us, be a part of the footprint. Let's pull our resources together, and have great leadership in the organization that can represent all of us. So we will be in Louisville, Kentucky. Send us what we need to get registered, and we will be there.
Sounds great.
Becky, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.